introduction today.
Dude,
It's
go
like,
for it. Go for it.
so welcome back to another episode of the Daily Huge. And today, there's another person in the room. I wonder who is this Wes McKinney guy? I heard a lot about him, and uh, I guess I was able to for one day I was able to overthrow Wes on the leaderboard. That was my great achievement.
Oh
So
man,
over to you, Sam.
yeah, it's funny. I was just telling you, Wes, we're building all these different products, but the thing everybody's engaging on is this leaderboard, and they're all pinging me, asking like what the top developers are doing. So
Yeah.
Wes, thank you for joining. For those who don't know, Wes is the founder and implicit. I guess you've kind of handed over the BDFL title for pandas.
In
Like,
pandas, yeah,
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 yeah. Which is, if you're not programming in Python, or if you haven't programmed in Python, is the just like the canonical data science library. Um, and Wes has built a number of other open source tools and consumes an enormous amount of tokens, and that's what we are all very curious about is how are you spending those tokens? Do you feel like you're getting value out of it? Are you sleeping? you
yeah.
you're famously not, you're not into the dark software factory methodology, you're not into
Right.
loops, and so
Yeah.
it's like that makes it even more intriguing that you're spending
I'm
all
into
these tokens.
I'm into loops where the human is always in control. So like what I'm not into is clankers talking to each other. Yeah.
And
Because
for
I
those
guess
who don't
like
know,
because like yeah.
clankers are like the euphemism for agents that
Yeah.
maybe go off
Well,
the rails a little
because
bit.
what I like to say is that the agent's name is a little bit silly because you are the agent, not they are not. You are like you have the agency. They just do what they're told. And so I dislike calling them agents because it gives them, I think, too much credit. Yeah. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I'm happy to talk about all that. I do not sleep very much. I am the founder of a new company called Ken Software, and we've got an array of open source local first developer tools that help augment the agentic loop and level up the local development experience. And so like I've been certainly doing a ton of development on all those projects, and partly what's caused me to like multiplex my attention in so many directions and burn a lot of tokens is that I'm doing like a tremendous amount of feature development on all these projects, and I'm also dealing with a large amount of inbound pull request triage, because we do have like a fast growing developer community on these projects, like with Agents View and Message Vault in particular. Like Agents View is a session intelligence, basically a session database and token intelligence system. It's actually the system that powers your token leaderboard, as you know. And we also, Message Vault is a really powerful personal context layer. It's a system of record for your email, text messages, chat, your granola minutes, like your Discord messages, your Slack messages. You can ingest everything into a single comprehensive system of record that's focused on relationships, not data sources. And so to be able to look at like a person and see, your email, your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your Discord messages, all in a single kind of integrated view is really powerful when you start to want to ask questions like, you're interacting with someone, you interact with them on multiple channels, like all that data should live in a single system of record, and it should not be controlled by some cloud. Like it should belong to you, and you should be able to host it wherever it makes sense.
Okay, am I right about thinking about this, where you're basically building tools that you wish you had in this new AI paradigm? Is that, I mean, to be
Yeah. I
honest,
mean,
it's like
I
it's like
essentially like I feel like I'm kind of taking like wresting power back from the prior powers that be. And I think now in this new day and age with our coding agents, we can move and build like new systems to take power back from the hyperscalers, from the Googles and the Metas and the kind of the companies that used to control all of our information and our ability to create tools and do work. And so, I started building some things like at the end of last year that were really personal finance oriented. And I very quickly realized like, oh, I need a system to like an offline system that has all of my personal communications, like every PDF document I've ever received in my email, all my text messages, all my interactions. Like I'm an active angel investor. And so to have like all of my communications with all my portfolio companies in one system of record has been hugely valuable. So that's where Message Vault came out of that. I was like, just give me a database that has everything in it. And like, I can pull up, a PDF from 7 years ago in a matter of seconds with a single prompt in Claude Desktop. And that's super powerful. And you would think that this is something that Google could do for us. And yet like Google search just doesn't, like Gmail search just doesn't work. And so I think we've become a bit numb to how enshittified all these platforms are. And it is time for us to take the power back. And so that's one of the things that's been motivating me. Certainly, like, and actually building software with agents, as you know, is really difficult. And so building these systems, it's made me hyper aware of like you can't give the clankers even an inch. Like they go off the rails so easily. Like they have to be kept on the rails through like really rigorous code verification and a really tight process that prevents them from drifting from your intent. And kind of I've had to learn kind of incrementally and through a lot of trial and error and missteps, like what does a good software engineering process look like with agents in mid 2026. And so I'm happy to like talk about what my process looks like how do I build stuff. Yeah.
I think that is the question everybody has, right? Especially to your point about you're maintaining a tight level of supervision over the token spend implicitly, and kind of like what you're saying right now, and the fact that you don't love agents talking to each other. And so then the question is, okay, how are you maintaining this velocity on product development and token spend, given that level of supervision?
It's difficult. I mean, I think in any given day, I'm driving, anywhere from like 8 to 20 like work threads. It's like, so essentially projects that that are in my working memory that I'm keeping track of, where, I'm essentially limited by like my ability to pay attention to a lot of things and to remember like where I am in different projects. And like I'll share a screen and give you, I have to make sure I don't show anything like private here since I'm running a company and we have a lot of stuff that's unlaunched. So basically like, like at our company, Ken, like we're building, basically a Zen of Ken, which is like how we think about building software in this day and era. And so if you've been like reading my essays and seeing some of my recent talks, like I've talked a lot about like, what does it mean to do scalable software engineering in the age of agents? And so certainly things like knowing what to build is still the hard part. Taste cannot be delegated. We do not ship slop. An agent's output is your output. The agent did it is not an incident report. Basically, empathy for every human in the loop, none for mediocrity. Unreviewed code is broken code. The reviewer can be a machine. The accountability cannot. If you can't explain the diff, you didn't write it. Vibe coding is not carrying at scale. So yeah, this is kind of like a little bit of like kind of the ethos of how we build software at my new company. But we have like, I made this diagram, partly as an onboarding guide for when we hire people. But basically like we drive like a heavily spec-driven development loop that is oriented at like superpowers. So if you are familiar with the superpowers frameworks created by Jesse Vincent and his company, it's like a pretty rigorous set of composable skills that engage in like clarifying your intent and then engaging in like a design interview with you where you critically design the scope and intent of what you want to build. And you create a specification that you then need to refine and evaluate, and often like having adversarial agents look at the spec and poke holes in it and find inconsistencies and contradictions, because almost every spec that comes out of superpowers is full of some kind of contradictions. And you know that requires like heavy engagement from you. So like this is not a process that can be delegated. It would be nice if you could indicate your intent and then just like hand it off to be, you know, it's like let two agents like discuss with each other whether the spec makes sense. Like you have to, you know, look at all of the feedback and read it, because just because you ask an adversarial agent for an opinion on a spec doesn't mean that the feedback is good. So you do need to look at that and be exercising constant judgment, especially in this first part of the process. And so in any given day, like I might create 10, 20, or 30 specifications with superpowers. And after that, like, you know, you revise the spec until you're comfortable with it. And then you hand it off to be developed. And the thing that's going on like all during the development is we've built a system called RoboRev, which is a continuous background code reviewer. And the idea is that all of the generated code that is created during the superpowers implementation gets incrementally reviewed by RoboRev in the background. And then either during the implementation or at the end, you ask the agent to take all of the code reviews and fix all of the problems that are found in the implementation. And so just the RoboRev reviews, like because I'm running so many parallel threads of superpowers plans, that does generate a lot of background code review work. And so that's definitely burning a lot of tokens. Like I would say that like maybe 40% of my tokens is burned on verification and reviews.
Okay.
So yeah.
So a question here. First of all, the adversarial spec review, is that RoboRev or?
You can use RoboRev to conduct the reviews. Like that's the default. Is if when you're using superpowers, when you're using superpowers, the specs get committed, and that triggers a code review with superpowers. And whenever RoboRev sees, it triggers a review with RoboRev. When RoboRev sees a markdown only change, it automatically engages a design review instead of like a code correctness review, because it sees like, oh, this is just a markdown only change. So this is just like documentation or specs. So yeah, I mean, and sometimes like I might have like an interactive thread where like I ask for, I have like a particular question where like I'm not sure whether the spec contains decisions that I agree with. And so I might probe certain spokes of the design, and then, you know, maybe make different decisions based on like what seems reasonable to me.
How much human time are you spending on actually reviewing these the specs? That's kind of been where my focus has been.
I don't actually read the specs, but I do read the design sections. So the design sections are kind of, the spec is sort of is just a mechanical artifact of like the design decisions that are made. Essentially, like superpowers will presents the design to you in sections for your review, and you know at any given so there's an interview where you decide on like critical things, and then after that you have like the design sections. And so a big plan might have 5 or 6 design sections, and those usually like each design section fits on like one terminal screen. And so it's not too much to read. And I think it is worth like reading that and making sure that like you're nodding and agreeing to everything. And sometimes I don't. And so whenever I'm working on something that's like networking or something that I'm like not super comfortable with, I'll sometimes have the design sections reviewed one by one by, like if I'm using 5.6 Sol, like I'll have Fable review the design sections and try to tear apart like, okay, where is this going to break, or Like, where is there a contradiction kind of in this design section? But still, no matter how good the design sections are, when the spec is written, there will still be like mechanical problems or inconsistencies, contradictions in the written spec. And it's much easier for an agent to find those contradictions than to read it with your puny, tiny human brain and try to see the issues.
Yeah.
Okay,
So there's like two out. Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead.
There's two outputs of the superpowers thing, right? Like there's like the first part. That's what you're calling the design
The
spec, and then
spec,
I thought the
the
second,
spec, yeah. So
and then
yeah,
the second part's like an
so the
actual
structure.
implementation plan.
Yeah, so the implementation plan is just like translating the spec into a sequence of like code changes that are like essentially can be done by an agent that is less capable. And that could be, to make it faster or to save money. And so the idea of the implementation plan is like to spell out the details as detailed terms as possible, so that it's like hard for the implementer agent to screw up. And so it's pretty common. Like you might use Fable to build the spec, and then like Sonnet to do the implementation.
Is that? Do you find yourself doing that?
That's actually the default behavior in superpowers. Yeah,
Okay.
and you can ask it like if you're working on something that's really really important, you can ask it to use like you could say, now we have Opus 5, and so you could say like, please use Opus 5 for this implementation. Because you're trying to reduce like review churn kind of after the implementation is done.
Yeah.
I don't have like good
workflows-
like empirical I don't have good empirical data about like how much buggier is the output from Sonnet versus Opus, but the implementation plans are like pretty detailed, and they're written by like the highest class model.
Yeah, I don't have any data either, but my workflow uses superpowers to basically create that design spec, and then it gets
Yeah.
chunked into like sections of work. And I haven't ever had much success with the implementation plan, so then I just have a fresh agent like go and implement it with a higher caliber model. But
I see.
I was just curious about how.
Yeah. I mean, I've been, probably the last 6 months, like, just sub-agent driven development has been my daily driver. It's been a little bit challenging, like, because I moved from using mostly Claude to mostly Codex, and like sub-agent driven development doesn't work as well in Codex. It's slow, and like you don't get a lot of information about the status. Like the whole sub-agent model in Codex isn't great. But so I've been doing more like inline execution in Codex these days. But yeah, I think it's 6 to 1, half dozen of the other. But when things are implemented, like I think basically we, kind of the things that happen after it's implemented, you don't just like open a PR. You have to make sure that like every code review that's generated during implementation is closed out. And the other thing that we've developed, a sort of process around is making turning the planning documents, the specs and the planning documents into durable living architecture documentation. So essentially, like you can view superpower specs as being a point in time distillation of like your intent or like something you want to build in the project. Once you're done building it, you want to take that and turn that into something that is persistent, like a persistent artifact in the project that can serve as useful context for the agent later. And so I have like a hard rule that like we do not merge superpower specs into main, or if we do by accident, that we like convert them into durable documentation and remove them as soon as possible. Another thing that is like, I think difficult, that requires like some tuning of your agents.md and your system prompts is if you do not put guardrails around superpowers, like it will put references to plan sections and like specs like in your code and in your documentation, and that I found is very bad. And so we have like a hard rule that like no documentation, no code may reference sections in a superpowers plan, and pull request descriptions may not either. And so like I do not, and so like if I see a pull request description that is like full of robo speak, like as described in section 7.3 of this superpowers document, like this next vertical slice will capture this load bearing seam, and so like we do not permit such robobabble in our kind of human facing communication about the code. But yeah.
Wes, two things. One, somebody in our chat is wondering if you're willing to share this, and it doesn't look like the URL is accessible. Is that right? It's a kind of an internal doc.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's an internal doc. Yeah, so I think we could publish something. Externally. Yeah.
Cool. And okay, so let me just make sure I understand this, because I think we're all using superpowers, but but we're not. So you're having, it's like up to
We're
16.
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
You have up to 16 agents working on 16 different specs, right? That have gone through this process, right?
Yeah.
So this flow
So
that is on the screen right
like
now.
my day is spent basically like going around like getting plates spinning, and so like literally like from the time I wake up in the morning until I time to go to bed, I'm like, oh, I got to get a plate spinning over here, and then I got to get a plate spinning over here, and so then I'm like at a certain point during the day, I'm just like rotating around my 12 spinning plates and like seeing what attention they need. And I didn't really talk about like what happens like when the plan is done. Like when we get to this, to stage 6 here, and we open a pull request, like we built an alternative interface to GitHub. It's currently called Middleman. We're in the process of renaming it, so that will kind of be renamed and relaunched soon. And we have like a PR gate system that's based on RoboRev that does like re-reviews the branch. And that's something that requires human discretion, because there's, I think, a somewhat like optimistic belief that like automated review loops can converge consistently, and my experience is they cannot. And the reviewers will also go down like impractical rabbit holes and chase after infinite security rabbit holes and things that don't make sense. And so I almost never set agents loose on a autonomous review like pull request refinement loop, because I've seen it go off the rails too many times. And so I'm almost always like looking at the review findings that are left by RoboRev and our PRs. And so if you make a pull request to agents view, you'll immediately encounter our automated reviewer. But I actually look at the reviews and see like what the findings are. So it's not, it requires some degree of human judgment to know when to terminate, to say like, no, like sometimes you'll see a finding and the problem is actually that the project's threat model is not written correctly. And so it requires an update to the threat model or the review guidelines. It's like, no, this finding is invalid, or like this finding is not consistent with our threat model. And so we need to update the threat model so that this category of review finding is not raised in the future.
This is like an current active debate on our team about whether or not automated reviews can converge reliably. But okay, so you'll have like
sharing. Past week, I did ask my team to fix something on Agents View. They created the PR. I got the review from RoboRev. There was a review there. Then I said, "Hey, what's the status of the PR? There's a review there. Go fix it." They fixed it, and someone merged on your team past week.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Maybe it was me. Yeah, or somebody on my team. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll typically have 12 of these when you're like running max capacity. Is that right?
I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, so like, I'll have to look. Like, I think like yesterday, I think like steady state, like when I'm really like, dialed in and working, like I think probably like steady state is like kind of 8 to 12 during the day. Yeah.
Are you, and I know you might have some stuff you can't share, but like just for us, for the audience, can you just show like pragmatically, okay, this is what your screen looks like, or
Um, I can't, but I mean, I can show you like what I can show you our like our CodeForge interface. I just have to make sure that it's like, kind of cleansed of, because I know this is like a live stream,
or even if you can screenshot it later, but describe it like, or is this like a
yeah, no, like this is
ghosty? You
fine,
have
right? No, so like this is our like GitHub interface. So like here is like, recent PRs and issues for Message Vault. And so like basically like here's like the currently active Message Vault PRs. And so like here's the pull request thread description. You can see here's a RoboRef comment. I've got, we built an alternate diff viewer, so like I can look at the code diff here. We have the workspace. We built our own Tmux interface, like inside the application, where basically, if I agree with this, like I can take this and put, like I can take this. We've got like a copy and paste bug that we're dealing with, but. So like I can say, do this, and it will do it. And then meanwhile, like I can go over and say, okay, what's going on here with this? Like I look at the review here, and I have to decide, like, at any given time. At some point, it might say, okay, there's no issues, but actually, I was doing a bunch of work on this PR, and so like I've got to review this and then push it. But like I think. Like another thing that results in me burning a lot of tokens is that, like, in addition to building features and like building a company, also taking in all of these pull requests. And so I don't know exactly how many tokens I burn, like refining and improving like inbound pull requests, but it's significant, and a lot of it's driven through this like kind of this middleman interface.
how much of your day is spent in? So this is you're using this instead of GitHub. How much of your day is spent in here versus in Ghosty, working directly with the TUIs?
I'd say it's about like I'm probably like 60-70% like kind of terminals like Tmux, and then the other 30 or 40% is in this application. But this is also how I keep on top of like all of the pull requests. So like in all of our projects, like right now, like we have internal and external, we have around 50 pull requests that are open at any given time. And we merge like several hundred pull requests per week. And so basically like every single day, like 40 or 50 pull requests have got to get merged. And so it is like like an industrial process. Like I wouldn't, a little bit factory like, but it is a factory that has humans in the loop, like at every step of the way. And so like I think in building this system, like we've put a lot of engineering into just building this interface to GitHub. Like we're very cognizant of like reducing friction. Like for example, like all the data is cached locally, right? So the friction of like switching between pull requests, like we need that to be instantaneous, because have to go to like the pull request tab in GitHub and like click on the pull request, like it's absolutely miserable. It's like it's the worst. Yeah, I can never go back. I don't know why they don't fix it. But like that's not GitHub's way.
And you have a terminal built into this, right? Like it looks like
yeah, that's right.
Agent. Yeah. Is this the agent that submitted the pull request, or is this just
No. So basically, yeah, like here, there's somebody else open a pull request, and I can just like open. Open the workspace. It just pops open a Tmux session that's bound to this work tree. Right. And then here, like if I wasn't happy with this, like I could say, okay, like I'm going to launch like a Codex session, or maybe this is already Codex, but I could launch, I could launch a Claude session here, right? It's like, so if there was something I wasn't happy about here, I could like go here and ask Claude to have a second look.
Okay, so thank you, Wes, for coming on. So I'm going to try to summarize what I heard. So one is you're spending most of your human time at the top end reviewing the design. So what is you're using superpowers pretty much for everything. I'm assuming not for pull requests to get them merged. You're using
Right.
RoboRev, but for everything that you're writing, pretty much it starts with superpowers and a
Yep.
human review of the design. Um, Two is you're able to spin 12 plates simultaneously. So you have like 12 superpowers codecs, or sorry, codecs or Claude windows going in Tmux or whatever, right? Up to 12. To spin those simultaneously, you've invested a lot of energy into the review process, right? Because for a new engineer who is using superpowers, like it's gonna come back to them every hour or whatever, right? And so you can't get through 12 threads hourly, right? And so
Yeah. Well,
you're using the
the nature of these things is like, I mean, the nature of like, I don't use fast mode. Like cause I value my tokens. And so, but yeah, I'm bouncing between a lot of sessions, which requires like some like mental, it's quite mentally intense because I have to like mentally keep track of like, where am I in all of these, like, 12 threads. So.
okay, yeah. So superpowers, spending time on the design. RoboRev allows you to, at least when you're looking at the code has been reviewed. So you're using less energy reviewing unreviewed low quality code. It's the second thing. And then the third is you're not using GitHub, you're using middleman. And you're using that to triage your pull requests and get
Yep.
those merged. Like
Yep.
those are kind of the three things you do uniquely
Yep.
compared to other developers we've interviewed.
Yep. Sounds right.
Nice. Thank you,
Yeah, it's
man.
fun.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
It's intense, but having fun. I can't do this for the rest of my life, but it's everything feels very urgent right now, and so like we've got a lot of stuff cooking in the company, and so I'll be excited to share more about that in the near future.
When typically is the first moment when your hands are on the keyboard in the morning, and when is the moment when your hands are off the keyboard at night? And are you doing the
Oh, boy.
polyphasic sleep?
No, I mean I'm pretty reliably asleep from like 11 to 5. But I there's days where I'm up at 5:30, 5:45, hands at keyboard. I'd say on average it's more like maybe 6:30, and then I'm typically going until like 10 or 10:30 at night. But there are days when like I'm like, I really have got to get like this plan implementing before I go to sleep, and so I've had like evenings run long where I'm like just at the cusp of like finishing a spec and like being happy with it, and like I know I could like get it implementing, and it's going to take 7 hours to implement, and I'd be able to look at the result in the morning. And because like I've like built this like synergistic relationship between superpowers and RoboRev, where like superpowers is like assuring that the output like conforms to the spec, and then RoboRev is dealing with code quality. And so the result is, I think something that's a lot more valuable, and requires like, it still requires human QA. Like anything that's UI related, like, you open it up and it like doesn't work, right? No matter, it's like, you could spend 8 hours implementing, you spent $500 in tokens, and you open it up and like, oh, like the button doesn't work. It's kind of ridiculous that seems to happen almost every time. I like to think that the process I've created, like process I've designed for myself, and we use in our team, at least like shortens like the amount of human attention that's required to get something good merged into main and deployed to production.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And anything that you're willing to publish, I'd love to share that out with our community.
Yeah, totally. Sounds good.
Lucas, Daniel, any last thoughts?
Yeah, actually, so there's something that worked for me when working with UIs. is asking for the AI to actually test how the user would use it, like opening the browser, clicking the buttons around, like doing the thing that the user would do, and record a video and post a video for me. So then when the agent tells me it's done, I'm not trusting he's done. I'm watching the video, seeing the thing working, and by just asking this, it ensures that the agent's actually like running the system, make sure everything is up and running, so he can do the test. Um,
Yeah, basically
think with
all
UI
Daniel's
yeah.
PRs have a video in them.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of like auto screenshots and stuff. And like my like Marius on my team is like big on like the Codex desktop and like T3 code, like the browser kind of computer use stuff in there is pretty good for like getting UI stuff right.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. We'll let you go.
Of course. Good stuff.
Thanks for
Good chatting with you
sharing.
guys.
Thanks, man.
Take
Good to see
care.
you.
All right. I'll catch you
Yeah.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Wow,
That was fun.
that was fun.
Who's joining tomorrow?
I know. We should try to get like everyone on the leaderboard, and like once a week, every Wednesday, it's like we feature someone from the leaderboard for just a casual conversation.
Mhm.
I bet my brother would come on. I think he's watching this stream right now, and
Yeah, he
has
commented.
he has a new tool that has got him. I think at one point he was like number 2, right behind Wes. So
Wow.
It's running a chief live session on this stream. Here's the summary. Huh.
yeah, he's.
Oh shit, he's at 16.6 billion tokens, number 1 right now.
My brother.
Yeah. Wes is
Wow.
his thing's broken, he said, so he's
Uh,
missing at least 24 hours of data, but your brother would probably still beat him.
yeah. Cool. Okay, let's do stand up.
Okay.
Okay.
My brother is saying that he has visibility to get to 100 billion tokens per week. With Sparkle. Do you know anything about Sparkle?
Yeah, what is Sparkle, Sam? And how much did that domain cost, sparkle.ai? That's my question.
Sparkle is a tool. He's a coding tool he's building that
Ah,
allows him to start agents and then continue talking to them on mobile.
talking
Oh,
to
nice.
us?
Oh no, Jonathan is in the wrong link. Oh no, wait. Oh, he says he's in another meeting. Okay.
What is the last thing you said about the Sparkle? You said it was enabling
It's
you to
got some
talking
sort of
to.
mobile. It's got some sort of mobile interface,
Uh,
so he can walk away from his computer.
The Ghosty guy's announcing a new company where he's building his own terminal multiplexer.
Everybody's building their coding harness. Everybody's got a coding harness that they're.
This multiplexer organizes long-lived sessions. You can close the application, reconnect from another device, pick up where you left off. The hostess. Hey, Jonathan.
Running late.
You missed a great daily yield today.
What did I? What was discussed?
We had Wes McKinney on discussing his developer workflow.
Have to go back and watch Daniel's YouTube rewind on his live stream.
you can do that on Watch Me Peep with YouTube.
Is there a YouTube channel for that? I thought, at least last I looked, it was just Twitch.
We do have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it. I'll share the link on Discord.
Oh, I found it.
Daniel, does yours people actually use superpowers?
Um, it uses whatever you set up. So I don't ship any like superpowers by default there.
But like when it comes to like when it comes time to actually do the work, like it's not like your people are gonna invoke superpowers, right? So like, cause isn't it designed to like fork out and have multiple people working on stuff?
It's not clear to me your question. So
Well, at the end, like if you were to create like a superpower spec, like just out of the box, like at the end of it, it's like, okay, now I'm going to implement this, and it's like the superpowers asks you how you want it to be implemented, and you can say like by subagents or start it in a new session or whatever. I don't remember what the current options are. But if you said, okay, go ahead and implement it, then it's like, what's your boss going to do? Like your boss
uh,
is probably designed to not like write code, so.
yeah, currently I'm not using superpowers, but if this would happen, um, um, I will give instructions to the boss when spawning the engineer to implement it to use superpowers. So, like if I'm using this is an issue I'm having, I will make sure that
Yeah.
the prompt that I use when I spawn the boss instructed how to do it properly.
Yeah.
But as far as like the engineer using superpowers, that's easy because it's just making sure that the superpowers plugin is installed when invoking that cloud session um, when starting it.
Yeah. There's something that he said that Wes talked about though that I'm realizing like I don't think I use. Like I use superpowers just to create the spec and then it chunks it and then cooks go off and implement each chunk. And then the cook's job is like, like you said, take the screenshots, do the video, like prove that what you're doing works. But he said there was a piece that like it makes sure like superpowers make sure that the work that was done like conforms to the spec.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing I don't think I have that part.
Yeah, me neither. But
Well,
that's
some-
a
the-
important.
So you all don't use superpowers for the writing of code. You don't get the moment
No.
where it asks like, do you want to write this with sub-agent driven development or inline?
No, because the way that Kitchen works is it's like it overwrites that piece. Well, one, I hate the implementation plan part of it, so I just like cut that out. Like I feel like I would
You like
much
the
rather use higher
brainstorming.
level. I use the brainstorming, I get the nice spec, and I'm like, hey, how can we chunk this up so that like we can parallelize this work and then a cook will get each one of those chunks. And so that's basically when I stop using superpowers. And you use RoboRev now, Daniel?
No.
Oh, you just submitted a PR for it?
I submitted a PR for on his code base, Agents View, and RoboRev was running there. So that's where the review came from.
Cool.
Okay, I'll go. I said I would iterate on the startup exploration dashboard. I did that. I moved it to the Plow Notion. And I also started a strategy memo, which I think is almost more useful. Both of these are in draft form. I don't think they're I wouldn't spend much time reviewing them, but or they're works in progress. I hope to finish them today to get your all's review before my investor conversation on Friday. I said I would explore hooking up Plow Hermes to Seam, HostXN, and Memory Tool, and I have that going. It's hooked up to HostX. It's currently using the Google Carpathy open knowledge format memory system. And so my goal today is to finish drafting the strategy memos, finish the startup exploration draft dashboard. Maybe I can present both of those tomorrow after stand up if anyone's interested in seeing them. And then I also want to reach out to Janice and David. They feel like our two most like viable real customers with real needs, and both of them have gone cold. And I think they both actually would benefit from a local Mac tool set. I can talk more about that later. So I'm going to see if I can re-engage them. There's this awkward reality that everybody that's engaging with us, like what they really want is like, tell us what the top developers are doing. Like, give us a newsletter of like the top tools. Give us more videos of top developers, like, give us AI worth using. Give us, it's like, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of neglecting them. And then I'm processing this. We just have to think about this. And then I want to finish populating Airbnb memories into my Hermes on Pi agent. This is my way of dog fooding the memory tools that exist today. And I just want this capability. I had an Airbnb dashboard in the old world. I want one in the new world. So those are my updates.
Cool. For me yesterday, my Domo can now respond to you on Twitter and on Discord. So those proof of concepts are done. I need to rename. It's still called Plowy in the Discord, but I can work on that. The way that it's going to work, Sam, is I think I'm just going to use my Twitter account, and if you mention Domo in the response, then I will process it through. Like if you at message Plonkus and then mentions Domo, it'll like route to the Domo agent to respond to that. So that's working. Needs a little bit of cleanup, but that's working. And then I'm hoping I can just set up this Neo, point it to my Domo on my screen over here on my desk, and we can just do that as the live stream. And so we can get all that stuff set up for Friday. I think it's like pretty good.
Okay, so Friday we're going to do your Domo live streamed with your Neo.
Yeah, the Neo will just be like the camera.
Yeah. And will Domo like will people be able to like send you? Will there be I feel like there should be some sort of like widget in your dashboard, which is like shout outs from the community, you know what I mean? Or something that people can actually influence on the dashboard.
Yeah, so I actually didn't think about the widget part, but I was planning on them being able to add events to a calendar. So Domo works by like looking at all of the Google account calendars that you have connected. And so I was just going to create like a streamer one, and then anything that comes from X or from Discord would like go just to that calendar, so I can delete it. But they would show up in line with all the other events. But the widget thing might also be cool, and definitely will be easier. So that's kind of cool. I'll definitely add that.
Okay, if it's easy, yeah. There's something about the real timeness of it,
Yeah,
where like,
exactly, yeah.
Which I assume with the calendar it wouldn't be real time, but okay.
Well, if you add an event for like right now,
like how often does the dashboard refresh on your screen? Like if I add an event,
the dashboard,
is it polling or is it push?
it is pulling, but since you're adding the events through Domo, then if it knows that it added an event, it will like
Oh, I
trigger a
see.
refresh.
I see. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Well, whatever's easiest.
Yeah, I mean,
With
ideally
a
we'll have
preference for real
both.
time. Cool. Great.
Cool. And then also learning from yesterday, there was definitely like an uptick in engagement across the streams, which was good. I think paying attention to the Watch Me Pivot chat is helpful, and I've started trying to chat just a lot more on my stream. And after you guys signed off yesterday, there was a good discussion there from somebody on my stream that was engaging. So that's been good. Same with this morning on mine. So that's been positive. So yeah, today I'm gonna work on Domo. I want to check in on that Mac OS CLI. I didn't do any work on that yesterday. And then I've also just spent maybe like 20 minutes building this native Mac OS app to aggregate the stream comments. So basically take that Restream chat app that I showed you guys yesterday and make it so you can log in with multiple YouTube and Twitch accounts. And then so we can have like an aggregated view of the stream. So we can see like our personal streams and Watch Me Pivot and all that. So that's been so far going great and very hands off. We'll see how it all fits together. So that's it for me.
Nice. For me, I'm working on that product hunt replying bot. It works. The browser opens, replies to product hunt, logs into my account, passes the bot verification. I'm setting up it to work as you want it, Lucas, with the webhook plus the post endpoint.
Webhook or WebSocket?
Sorry. Yeah, WebSocket, not webhook.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
And yeah, I want to give you access to that like in a few hours. What else?
How is this gonna work? Like, is this like what's the like on Twitter? I kind of ran into the same problem where it's like they're gonna message me personally, but then they have to say like something about Domo, and then the calendar will respond. Like, are you just gonna ingest all comments on this thread, or like are they gonna have to like mention a specific thing?
On Product Hunt, I'm processing all messages except from my user, so it doesn't auto respond to its messages. But
Because if somebody comments on the thing, they're going to be like, some of them will be like, "Hey, this looks really cool," or "How does the iMessage thing work?"
What is the problem that you're thinking?
If
I have to run, but this is important. So can we garage this, Lucas and Daniel? Can you? Sorry.
Yep.
Is that your update, Daniel?
Yeah. The other thing is, when we rotate the stream, that's what kills the signal and restarts the stream. I'm fixing that. I paused messing around on that changing that because of the US participation, but I will tackle this today. So this stream might be offline while I'm changing stuff on EC2.
Sweet.
Is that it from you, Daniel? Okay. For me, just really quick, updated launch schedule stuff that took a second yesterday. Did the product hunt page for Lifeboard sound? It's really like your project, so I don't know if you want to copy and paste the stuff out and launch as you instead of, because it looks like it's still under my name.
I mean, it's totally up to you. If you want to launch, take full. My preference is for you to do as much as you feel comfortable doing. So you can call it your launch, you can call it our launch because it's my face in there, I assume, in certain places. But yeah, whatever you, yeah. If you're like, I don't know, this is a steaming pile of garbage, I can give you my login. You can whatever you want to do.
Okay. Okay. I may ask
You
for
just
your
message
login.
me. Just message me what you need. You want my
Okay.
login?
Yeah, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll message you later about that. So interesting thing is I was talking to an Apple friend about just kind of Mac permissions, and I got pointed to this framework called Endpoint Security, and there's a very new API in the upcoming macOS 27 that lets you kind of have a whole security flow of from what I can tell, like permissions, authorizations, pending requests. So I haven't really looked into it, and it's very poorly documented, but I wanted to at least do a little research on that because I think that might be a very interesting thing to be able to leverage. And then beyond that, I thought maybe Sam, you and I could chat as we kind of deferred that one day, maybe after you're done with
Yeah, right.
the rest of your stuff.
I got it. Yeah, I have to move my car, but I did chat with Plukas after stand up, and Plukas had some thoughts about what you could help with. So, can you? What was interesting about I didn't catch. It honestly sounded. I missed the. It's like a list of permissions, like
It's a little unclear
permission
if it's a
requests.
list or if it works with like sandboxing APIs, but it's a whole authorization flow for if you need to give. I need to research it more. I just kind of got like the hint that this is something to look at. That so the framework itself, let me just like read it off. Um, your client registers with endpoint security to authorize pending events, receive notifications of events that occurred. These events include process execution, mounting file systems, forking, raising signals. So it's kind of like a low-level framework, but I think it's ultimately like system and data permissions. And then there's a new API
Interesting.
that kind of lets you manage child processes and a child flow. So you can like have a whole audit trail of like what goes through the system.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
So I think it might be like some sort of semi-permeable sandbox solution is what I'm seeing,
Yeah. Right. Okay.
but I need to
Interesting.
look into it more. Yeah, that's me.
One thing. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay, and that's it. So we maybe two garage items. One is Daniel, the conversation with you and Lucas about how we want these bots to respond, and then maybe Jonathan and Lucas on the tech um, local model investigation, if that's still relevant, Lucas.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, everyone. See y'all on Discord. I'm going to move my car.
Okay,
Take care.
cool. Thanks, everyone.